Greetings, I am Pillar Nexus Ancient Gladiator with more Pillar Loves Tabletop Games. Didn't think you'd see another episode like this, huh? Today I bring you Eve the Second Genesis, a card game, a collectible card game from 2006. Yeah, it's been a while. The goal of the game is to either eliminate your opponent's starbase. Starbase has a defense. If you upgrade it, it might have even more defense. Alternatively, you might have a special condition that allows you to win or makes other players lose to end the game that way. Or if your opponent needs to draw cards from their market and they can't, then you win. Your deck has to be one starbase. Notably, all the star bases are the same on the back, on their on one side. But then that lets you pull off a surprise later in the game. But you'll have your starbase, and that sets what cards you can use for your deck. So there'll be cards that either have, at the very least, your icon or no icon at all. And you can have up to 4 copies of a card in a deck. You have to have, as well, 3 outer regions. With the starter decks, there's no risk of overlap. But in like tournament situations, you kind of need to think what regions to bring that you don't think you're going to see other players run because of certain limits I'll explain later. At the start of the game, you'll have your hand of 7 cards. You have the option to shuffle some of them back in and then draw back up to 7, but you only get one shot to do it. Players don't start with any money. Money is represented with these ISK tokens. And most importantly, money accumulates over time. So that if there's nothing you need or want to buy early on, you can save it up for a bit. Which is nice. But anyway, at the start of your turn, anything that has duration, like news cards, will tick down by 1. If something reaches duration 1 and would tick down, it's put to your scrap yard, scrap pile, whatever. Its effect is no longer applied. Then if you have any ships on your starbase that are in assembly, they tick down by 1. If they are at assembly 1, then they are now docked at your starbase. In order to actually use them, you'll have to undock them, which I'll explain later. Excuse me. And then income. Your starbase starts by gaining 2 money every turn. It goes to your personal bank to spend as you see fit. Alternatively, you can pass on getting that money and draw an extra card, which is a nice option to have if you have a considerable surplus of money and like no cards to work with. Regardless of whether or not you get that extra card, You'll then go into your draw phase, then where you'll draw a card anyway. No special abilities or news or anything can affect the draw phase. It can be played during the draw phase at least. And then you'll go on to your management phase. This is where you actually get to do stuff. So, let's say we took the money. Alright, and then we have the extra card. So we play stuff from hands by paying the cost. Ships, if they don't have an assembly, they go straight to your dock. Otherwise, they'll go to your starbase. News goes out and play, but if there's a target, then there has to be a legal target for it. Starbase structures are just straight up added to your starbase. It can only affect your starbase, it can't affect anything else. Locations must be played on a region. This one very specifically says play on only on an outer region. As one of your options, you have play an outer region. You'll take one of your cards of your choice. As long as there's no copy of it already in play, you just pay the cost and you put it out. Nobody controls it. You can then play a location on it if there's room for it. Metropolis has room for 2 locations. And it adds 1 income to whoever controls it. So we add nice to it. And now it's worth an extra 2 income. The little mineral on the upper right applies to mining. I'll bring it up later. In order to make use of it, one of the things we need to do is send one of our ships out there. First, the ship has to be undocked from our starbase. Docking or undocking ships is an action. Just a free action during your management step. Docked ships are safe, but they don't do anything. Undocked ships are going to protect your starbase. And then you can then move them out. Warping your ships is an action. You send them to a location. If there are no enemy ships there, they just take it over. No problem. If there is an enemy ship there, there's going to be a battle, which I'll explain later. You also have the option to command a ship, as long as it's not docked or attacking. So the Emperor has patrol. So when it's defending, it can force someone to attack it. Or alternatively, it has mining 1. At the beginning of your income step, you gain money based on the mining value, 1, multiplied by a mineral. You're limited to using 1 ship per mining location when doing that. But that gets you extra money, which is going to be critical in the game. So yeah, ships, news, starbase structures, locations, and outer regions. Major stuff you can do. But let's say, let's say I do have a ship here, and on a future turn, someone else sends their ship there. So there'll be a battle step, or a battle phase. There'll be the beginning of the battle effects. Withdraw ships. So what'll happen is starting with the attacker that can pull their ships to their dock or a non-hostile region. Say we have this out. We can decide for some reason to just go. Or if the attacker doesn't take the option, the defender could. But anyway, if not, it goes to target. You're limited to one ship can target one other ship, period. So all that damage has to go to it. So the slasher has an attack of 3. All 3 of that damage has to go to the Emperor's 1. And then the Emperor has no attack, so the slasher is safe. So if a ship has more damage equal to or greater than its shield value, it's going to be destroyed. And then we do the result. As long as we destroyed at least one defender, we start another battle step. Have the option to withdraw on that one as well, even if there's no defenders left. So it's like, we didn't really want to hold this, we just wanted to kill everything there. But if the defenders survive, though, all the attackers have to withdraw. So make absolutely sure you're ready to kick some ass. If we're fighting at the starbase, then you need to bring some extra muscle. After resolving the damage between attackers and defenders, we count up the damage that the attackers can do against the starbase defense. And if that's at least equal to or more, then the starbase is destroyed and that player is defeated. Anyway. Once the battles are done at a given location or region, it goes on to the next one. Any battles at starbases have to be done first. Alright. Yeah. Oh, and there's one thing I missed in the management phase is, 7's a pretty easy number to beat. You probably want to, when you have the money to do it, upgrade your starbase to do some extra fun stuff. Unfortunately, your income drops, usually. So, down to 1 money. Make sure you're established pretty well with regions and locations ahead of time. But once the battles are done, we go to the end step, or end phase. And if you have more than 7 cards in hand, you'll discard down. Important things to keep in mind, as well as, is with the battle phases, if there's another battle phase, any damage that wasn't enough is just gone. Shields repair. You have to do all the damage you need to do in one shot in that one battle. That's pretty much it. Either you destroy the base, you run them out of cards, or you hit a special win condition. So, why do I like this game? Okay, I haven't spent a whole lot of time with the MMO. But I like space stuff, and I like the just the whole idea of having a corporation and spaceships and mining and all sorts of crazy stuff to make for an interesting experience. I have yet to actually play this with anyone. I just got this in the mail today, so that's cool. The And the funny thing is, I also have the board game Conquest. You've probably seen it from my other episodes. Um, Conquest is nice, but I feel like sometimes it pulled out a little too far in terms of scale, where you actually play as the whole empire. Um, I like this for being that small scale play as the corporation. Play as leader of that corporation, and have access to all these ships and stuff, and the news and locations and everything. I feel like there's more flavor to be found playing this than the board game or anything, which is why I like it, and I'm gonna go get the other starter deck and hopefully get it before it's sold out. Yeah, 2006. It's quite a long time ago. So if I can find anything more for this game, I really want to, because I think it's cool. It it might be a bit on the tricky side at times. The whole assembly duration, having to think about the timing and think ahead. That adds another layer of strategy and perhaps difficulty, but I respect it. Um, and it's unfortunate the game didn't take off too well, but it's definitely something I'd hold on to and just bring up for like, hey, let's mess around with an old card game. I mean, that's why I hold on to Anachronism, for the time being. You know, let's play this old card game for fun. And you know what? Space games, we need more of them. We need more space card games, for crying out loud. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. This has been Pillow Nexus. I love these games a lot. So, who knows? I might find another one. Like Dot Hack. Dot Hack Enemy. There's another episode I'd love to do sometime if I can find the cards. But until next time, thank you very much for watching. See ya.